Alright, radio check, we should be live. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button. It really does help out the stream at the start. But let's get right into this. We have got a wet qualifying session here in Spa. It's going to be a spectacular spectacle to watch. And, well, I must say we've got 20 of the best drivers in the world here driving around in these Formula One cars. We've got, of course, Max Verstappen, who has whose dominance has come under threat in the past couple of races. We'll see what he can do, but he has proven time and time again, before his first World Championship, after his first World Championship, that he is an absolute master in the rain. We've got a couple of newcomers, Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris. They haven't been up at the top of the pack at all that long, and they haven't had that much experience in the wet conditions while they've been at the top of the pack. We've, of course, got Lewis Hamilton, who's been a rain master ever since he came into Formula One, and then George Russell, the driver who in 2021 in the Williams put himself in second position in qualifying at a wet Belgian Grand Prix. So George Russell, he has got experience doing this, being in wet conditions at this circuit. All of the other drivers have loads of experience in the wet as well, and we'll wait and see. Just a weather update. So it is not raining at this current moment in time, but the previous 2 hours was fairly heavy rain. The Formula 2 sprint race got postponed because of the rain, and so that just goes to show there is a significant amount of water on the circuit, even though it isn't raining at this very moment. And there is also a forecast for the next hour or so that there is an 80 to 85% chance of rain. So I will keep you guys updated on what goes on with the rain, what the teams do, what the drivers decide to do. But the weather will play a very, very critical role in today's qualifying, because if you do go out at the wrong time and then go out when track conditions are worse compared to everyone else, then you are going to be at a massive, massive disadvantage. So, yeah, let's just wait and see what happens. But let me just put that timer up on the screen as well. Quali starts in 25 minutes there, folks. 25 minutes, or 28 minutes to be exact. But yeah, not long until qualifying is underway. I'm going to go through all of the stats that we've had in the free practice sessions. FP3 was pretty much a washout. We had quite a few drivers do around about 5 to 10 laps in the first 20 minutes or so, and then Lance Stroll crashed into the barriers. Going up through Eau Rouge, he was fine through Eau Rouge, but then he touched the curb on the mid-apex of Radion. And the problem with that is that once you go through Radion, the car gets extremely light because there's sort of a crest. You go over the crest of a hill, the car goes light, and Lance Stroll, over that exact section of the circuit, lost the car. And because of the lack of grip over the crest, he overcorrected and then spun into the barriers, only damaging his front left suspension and front left part of the front wing. So they can replace it. They will replace the front wing. They will replace the parts of the suspension. They do have spare parts on hand, so Lance Stroll will be good to go for qualifying. But I feel like we can expect quite a few incidents happening here in qualifying today. We've seen in previous couple of races, we have incidents even if it isn't wet conditions. Silverstone, we had Perez crash out in these wet conditions. Max Verstappen nearly crashed out. He had a massive twitch all over the gravel after that. So yeah, there is a very, very high chance that we do see someone make a mistake, especially at turn number 7, where we've seen so many drivers go wide. We saw Lando Norris go wide, Yuki Tsunoda go wide. In fact, Lando Norris went wide and had so much damage that they were repairing it for the remaining part of FP2. He went wide over the curbs at turn number 7, all over the gravel, and then they propped the car up for about 40 minutes, repairing all of the damage to the floor. So, yeah, it's pretty critical not to go wide, otherwise you will have a bit of damage, and that's going to compromise you going through the rest of the lap. Yeah. What are my predictions for tomorrow? Honestly, I cannot tell you my predictions for today, and hence there's no way I'm going to be able to tell you the predictions for tomorrow. Yeah, just an update on the grid penalties. Max Verstappen is confirmed to have a 10-place grid penalty, 10 places. So if he does qualify in first position, he will start the race in 11th position. But there is no need to worry. We did have In previous years, Michael Schumacher started in 16th position at Spa in wet conditions and made his way through the pack and went on to win the race. I think he did that in 1995. So yeah, there is precedent before. Many drivers have started below the top 10 and still made their way through the pack and gone on to get the race win. So they're still on the cards for Max Verstappen, still on the cards to score maximum points at this Grand Prix, and he really does need it, and so does his team. Red Bull are only 50 points behind McLaren in the Constructors' Championship with 11 races left to go and 3 sprint races. There is a very, very good chance that if both McLaren drivers are performing at the top of their game and only Max Verstappen is performing, Red Bull could have the Constructors' Championship potentially slipping out of their hands as every single race goes by. We'll wait and see how that progresses, but it's going to be critical for McLaren to be performing at their best of the game and not making any slip-ups, because a slip-up is effectively one step backwards, because Max Verstappen is pretty much guaranteed to score some points. He's taking an engine penalty this weekend. That means he's probably not going to have an engine failure for the remainder of the season, which means as they go towards the latter stages, these points are going to get more and more critical, and every single weekend that Max Verstappen gains points on the McLaren duo, it is going to be harder and harder for McLaren to get that World Constructors title. We've seen quite a few drivers lock up going through these corners. We had Carlos Sainz lock up going into turn number 1. We had... who else did we have locking up? It was... Charles Leclerc locking up into turn number 1. Carlos Sainz locking up into turn number 8. I think Verstappen also did the same, and Norris also did the same at turn number 8. Very, very tricky corner. It's downhill. The camber also pointing away from you. So you just get loads of understeer through there. And yeah, on their opening laps, Verstappen, Norris and Sainz, all 3 of them went wide on turn number 8. Yuki Tsunoda does have a 60-place grid penalty. That is, of course, just cut short to 20 grid places. He'll be starting from the back of the pack. He's taken a whole set of new engine components, so he should be good to go for the rest of the season. But yeah, he'll be starting in 20th position. That Schumacher, though, he could do it all. Indeed, Schumacher could do it all. We'll wait and see. Max Verstappen, only a 3-time world champion for now compared to Schumacher's 7. But if he can do a very dominant performance coming through the pack and then going on to win the race, then that would definitely help his case. Is the track wet? Yes, it is. The circuit is totally soaked. And the Formula 2 sprint race was postponed because of how wet the circuit was. The rain has stopped, but the circuit is still wet. Folks, let me know what your predictions are. What do you think is going to happen? Who do you think is going to crash out? Will it be Lance Stroll again? Will it be Sergio Perez? Will it be maybe Esteban Ocon? Or maybe Logan Sargent? Who knows what will happen? F1 added some karting clips in the FP3 highlights. Yeah, there really wasn't much to do in the FP3 session. So, not much highlights to do. Any opinions on the Piastri-Norris rivalry? Well, that rivalry has only just started, but it is a thing that we see time and time again throughout the years of Formula 1. Back in the 90s and 80s for McLaren, Senna and Prost, both teammates, fighting it out to score some points. Not score some points, to win some championships. They had a very, very big rivalry. Then, of course, Alonso and Hamilton, exactly at McLaren, once again having another very big rivalry at teammates. And this is a thing that we see time and time again. When you aren't the fastest team, your teammate is your best friend. You work together, you undercut drivers ahead of you, and you essentially work together as a team to propel both drivers up as high up the grid as possible. But when you are the fastest team, then your teammate suddenly becomes your worst enemy. Like, you do not want to be losing to your teammate whatsoever. There is a bit of a rivalry brewing. I wouldn't say it's a fully fledged rivalry. We've only had it a bit. We've only had one incident, but it was one pretty drawn out, long incident, to say the least. So we'll see what comes of Norris and Piastri's rivalry. Norris does seem to have the upper hand on qualifying pace and also a bit in race pace as well. But Piastri, with his cool, calm, level-headed mind, may come out ahead if he can, come up with some better strategy decisions within the car, and then just tell the team to listen to what he should, to listen to what he should do. And tell the team what they should do. Yeah. All right. Let's see, what else have we got going on this weekend? Not all that much, to be honest. Well, I say not all that much. Max Verstappen has been banned from sim racing late at night because the team think that it's going to hamper his performance, and I think that is fair enough. They're paying Max Verstappen on the order of $40 million or something along those lines to be the fastest racing driver the world has ever seen. And if you're sim racing at 3 a.m. the night before a race, it's probably going to affect your performance, maybe 2%, maybe 3%, maybe 5%. And, if you're getting paid $40 million a year, then you best believe that Red Bull have the right to say, no, Max, you can't sim race the night before a race because it's going to compromise your race. I think that's fair enough. Yeah. Explain what happened with Yuki and all those penalties. The thing with the penalties is if you get a new set of control electronics or a new internal combustion engine, you have a certain amount of grid penalties that you'll take. You'll take maybe 10-place grid penalty or a 5-place or a 3-place, something along those lines. So the things that they want to change on Yuki Tsunoda's car have already added up to 20 positions. So they were just like, oh, well, if we're already going to start at the back of the pack, we might as well just replace everything and get a completely fresh engine. And that's why they replaced everything in the car. And then they went up to a 60-place grid penalty. Yeah, right. Track temperature 21 degrees, air temperature 18 degrees. The rain is still very much present. The wind isn't very, very strong at Spa this weekend, so the drivers have one less thing to worry about. But yeah. Also, folks, we have 1,500 people tuned into the live stream. If you are enjoying, be sure to hit the like button. That would really help out the channel if we can get to our subscriber target. I think I'm going to set it to 84,000, in fact, for this live stream. We could probably do it. In fact, we have a record QUALI live stream already. So we started off the stream with 600 people, which is the highest that we've ever started off a QUALI live stream on. So yeah, already breaking records here. This season has been so great, and the channel is doing fantastically. Yuki's got a 60-place grid penalty, so does he only have to take it for one race? Yes, he does. Only one. That's, I guess sort of a loophole in the rules, but maybe they'll patch it, maybe they won't. Things seem to be doing just fine as of now. Okay. What else have we got going on the circuit? Well, as of now, the weather is still the same, just a wet circuit, no rain whatsoever. A couple more things in the news. We have got Esteban Ocon. He has signed for Haas, so he's going to have Oliver Behrman as his teammate next year, and it might be a bit of a struggle for Ollie Behrman having Esteban Ocon as a teammate. He hasn't had the best record in Formula 1 of getting along with his teammate. He hasn't got along with Sergio Perez, hasn't got along with Pierre Gasly. So we'll see what Ocon does, but as of now, it's not looking ideal for him. Right. Let's see, what else have we got going? Not much, to be honest, not much. Oh yeah, well, of course, there's a very critical talking point. Will Sergio Perez keep his seat in Formula 1, or will he not? That is the question. There have been a lot of rumours. Maybe Sergio Perez might lose his seat at the end of this Grand Prix. Maybe he won't. It's a bit tough to say, really. And we'll see what Sergio Perez can do. He's had a bad couple of weekends and crashing out in Q1 quite consecutively, and getting eliminated, getting out-qualified by Logan Sargent. All of the things are looking against him. But you've got to remember, this is the Sergio Perez that once drove for Force India, and Force India was the team with the smallest budget in Formula 1, but yet Sergio Perez could bring out these surprise podiums with the Force India team. He took the Force India team into administration brought them out, rebranded them as Racing Point, and then of course did so well with Racing Point when they did copy Mercedes' design, got his first race win with Racing Point, and then made his way to Red Bull. So Perez has got a lot of history in Formula One. He's got a lot of experience and is a very good driver, and it would be a bit sad to see him get kicked out of a team halfway through the season and then that be the end of his Formula One career. It would be a bit of a sour note for such a good driver to end on. I would like to see him score a couple of podiums, maybe a podium at Mexico, and then him end the season with Red Bull at the end of the year. That would be ideal. But Red Bull are a vicious team, and they have got a Constructors' Championship on the line here. If Sergio Perez cannot deliver, then potentially Red Bull lose the Constructors' Championship. So who knows what will happen. Esoteric, thank you for the $5 donation. Please keep the weather and track updates coming. The time it takes to heat the rubber in the track should prove interesting. Love from the Sonoran Desert. Thank you very, very much, Esoteric. Appreciate the donation once again. Yeah, thank you for helping out the channel. Sounds like you've got a new mic kinks ironed out. Sounds pristine indeed. I got a new mic cable and a new mic, and it's a pretty professional mic, in fact. Yeah, it's a Sennheiser mic, so sounds fantastic, and the mic and the cable that I've got also doesn't move around as much anymore, so there's no random cutting out noises. Okay, I thought for sure he'd lose his seat after his poor performance, but then they went and re-signed him. Now I'm hearing rumours that he might be gone after the mid-season break. Yeah, this is the thing. Sergio Perez, he does have a 2-year contract. I'm sure somewhere in the 2-year contract there will be a break clause saying if you don't perform as good as Max, you will lose your contract. Or if we lose the Constructors' Championship and you don't score half as many points as Max Verstappen, then you'll lose your contract. So there will be something in there, because I think Red Bull know that Perez isn't the most reliable driver and can't deliver in this Red Bull car. I think Perez otherwise was a very reliable driver before he came to Red Bull. At Racing Point, at Force India, he was fantastic. But coming to Red Bull, maybe under the pressure, maybe under the development of that car, he hasn't been able to do as well. So we'll see what happens. But it's been a tough couple of years, I guess, or a couple of months for Sergio Perez. Okay. Can Stroll make it to quali? Yes, he can. He has only damaged his front left suspension. They have already repaired the parts, and he should be good to go for qualifying in 13 minutes time, folks. 13 minutes time, and we will be underway for qualifying. We'll have Q1 18 minutes long, Q2 15 minutes long, and Q3 12 minutes long. It does not seem like we're going to have any sort of delays. The rain has really stopped falling, so it's only standing water to contend with, and that standing water will disappear very, very quickly once you have 20 Formula One drivers doing laps around this 7-kilometer long circuit. The other benefit of this circuit is that it is 7 kilometers long, so the drivers are much less likely to get caught up in other drivers' spray. They're much less likely to get in each other's way. Oh, that just rhymed there. And now I've totally forgot what I was going to say. But essentially, the drivers are a lot more spread out, and the issues that we normally see with traffic and all of those things are a lot less significant at this circuit. The bus stop chicane might be a bit of a pain point because there is a very, very slow corner before the start of the lap, but the drivers should manage to deal with that as well. Normally we see here in dry conditions drivers giving each other tows, but in these wet conditions nobody's going to be giving anyone a tow. It's really a little bit too risky, and also you're not going to gain all that much time from it because the water from the car ahead is also going to slow you down nonetheless. And yeah, so no more, we're not going to see any tows or anything like that. This is what I really wanted to see, in fact. I wanted to see the dynamic between Piastri and Norris and how they would deal with each other after their little fiasco in Hungary. But yeah, here we are, and they're not going to be giving each other toes. Lando Norris, if we look back to 2021, where it was wet qualifying in Spa, Sebastian Vettel came over the radio saying, this is far too heavy rain, you do have to red flag the session. And Lando Norris had a massive crash going through Eau Rouge and Radion. It was very similar to what Lance Stroll could have done today. Stroll managed to save it. And yeah, Lando Norris had a massive crash. He went spinning around. He did maybe two 360s after crashing into the barriers at Eau Rouge 3 years ago in 2021. Of course, in that exact same weekend, we had George Russell make it through into second position in that qualifying session in a Williams. I point out, it wasn't the Mercedes, it was the Williams in 2021. George Russell was driving and he got through into second place. So George Russell has some good history here. Lando Norris hasn't had the best of times in wet conditions at Spa. Max Verstappen is always great in the rain, and so is Lewis Hamilton. The unknowns are really Oscar Piastri, Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz. How can these drivers deal in these wet conditions? We saw Sainz and Leclerc both locking up, so they're going to have to adjust their brake balances and braking performances accordingly. But Piastri, it's only his second season in Formula 1, hasn't done that much wet racing. Spa is a very tricky and tough circuit, so we'll see how he deals with this and how close he can be to Lando Norris. I think Norris will be the quicker driver this weekend, but let's wait and see. All right. Oh yeah, don't forget my boy Alonso. Indeed, Alonso as well. Aston Martin, they did bring upgrades last weekend. They were the 5th fastest team last weekend. Their upgrades worked sensationally well. At the start of the season, they were the 5th fastest team. They dropped further and back down to probably the 8th fastest team. And then they did bring a massive upgrade package at Hungary. It worked out very, very well, and now they're the 5th fastest team again. So we'll see them maybe getting through into Q3, and I definitely think we'll see Alonso. He should put a good lap together in the wet conditions, and blow past a couple of the other drivers in the quicker cars. All right. Yeah. What do you think will happen to Ricciardo? Cheers, Steve from Tasmania, Australia. Thank you, Steve. Steve Smith. Steve Smith plays cricket, doesn't he? Don't think you're the same, Steve, but nonetheless, your question is, what do you think will happen to Ricciardo? So, Ricciardo's having a tough time, but the thing is, he had a tough time at the start of the season. Now he's been getting closer and closer to Tsunoda, sometimes even beating him. And if that slot opens up at Red Bull, which I think it either is going to open up at the mid-season break or it's going to open up at the end of this season. I don't think Perez will be driving for Red Bull next year. Ricciardo is the optimal driver to go into Red Bull, mainly because what was I going to say? I totally forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, because Ricciardo's already got quite a bit of experience in the Red Bull team. He has driven at that circuit, with the team before. He knows a lot of the mechanics, and also he has a bit more maturity than Yuki Tsunoda. Tsunoda, he came into the sport very, swearing over the radio, saying this is traffic paradise and whatever. And he's matured a bit, but to be in the second fastest team or the fastest team on the Formula 1 grid, I don't know if he has that maturity. Ricciardo also brings a lot of money with him, so I think Ricciardo would be the optimal choice for Red Bull next year. I don't know, Tsunoda seems to be the quicker driver. I would root for Tsunoda to actually get it, because Ricciardo has had his time in the limelight. Does he deserve that second chance after going to Renault, after going to McLaren? I don't know. I think Tsunoda does deserve his time in the limelight as well. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's, of course, Helmut Marko's and Christian Horner's decision after all, not mine. Yeah. 6 minutes and 40 seconds remain till the start of qualifying, folks. If you are enjoying the coverage, be sure to hit the like button. We have got a very, very exciting qualifying session on our hands today. Currently on the timings, we have got the free practice 3 session. Max Verstappen was significantly quicker than Piastri on all of the laps that they did. Verstappen was consistently around about half a second, 0.4 of a second quicker than Piastri in these wet conditions. Lando Norris wasn't all that quick either, but I suspect the drivers were driving around about 80% attack mode because they do not want to risk getting a crash. Right. Ethiopian Top G, I'd appreciate it if you didn't spam. And your question is, who do you think is the better wet condition driver in the top 5? I'd probably say, if I don't know who you're talking about in the current, if you mean the top 5 on the screen right now, I would probably say Max Verstappen. If you say top 5 in the constructors standings, still probably in the driver's standings, sorry, still probably Max Verstappen. Yeah. Who do you think will win and who do you think will be last? Well, I don't know about last because there'll probably be a couple of DNFs. Maybe Logan Sargent will have a crash. Maybe not. Oh, yeah. Also, there are reports that from Logan Sargent's friend, apparently, that Logan Sargent and James Vowles are not talking to each other. This is an interesting development because James Vowles, when Logan wasn't performing that great at the start of the season, his attitude was, oh no, it's all right, we'll help him out, we'll give him some more pointers and experience and time on the simulator, and hopefully he'll get quicker and we'll work through this. It's a progress situation. We don't expect performances from him immediately. We're going to work him up and we're going to give him that pace, essentially. But now what has happened, I don't know, maybe the relationship has turned sour. James Vowles and maybe the driver coaches have been trying everything they can, but Logan Sargent is not getting quicker and quicker. And apparently now Logan Sargent and James Vowles aren't even talking to each other. So, yeah, James Vowles has been also very vocal to the media that he's looking for a second driver, and Logan Sargent knows for a fact that Alex Albon is not going anywhere. It will be him that is going. So... yeah, it's a tough situation there to be Logan Sargent because you're at the team and the team for half of the season was giving you loads of support, helping you out, trying to get you to go quicker. And now, halfway through the season, they're just like, oh, we're not even going to talk to you anymore. Do what you like, and you're going out as soon as we find another driver. So, yeah, James Vowles is sort of expecting more from Logan Sargent, and Sargent isn't able to deliver. Now, I don't know if not talking to him is the correct strategy to go about things. So, yeah, we'll just have to see, really. Okay. Which McLaren do you think will be ahead, Piastri or Norris? I think it will be Norris will be ahead of Piastri, but... I'd like to see Piastri ahead of Norris, even though I think it will be the other way around. We'll have to wait and see. Okay. Logan said that is false. Okay, apparently, see, maybe Logan said that is false, but maybe the PR team just told him to say that it's false. So, yeah, the source was Logan Sargent's friend from IndyCar. Interesting. Logan Sargent has denied Marcus Ericsson's claims of problems in his relationship with James Vowles, calling the rumours false and unfounded. Interesting. Well, I probably should have researched that a little more before bringing it up, but thank you folks for letting me know of the latest news. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to have a quick sip of water. We're going to get underway for qualifying in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. We'll have all of the drivers. In fact, we've already got drivers making their way to the end of the pit lane. As you can see, Piastri there and Alonso queuing up at the end of the pit lane, trying to get out ASAP. Yeah, they've just come over the radio, as you can see on the right-hand side. They're saying, oh, we've got a few minutes, and they've told Lance and Alonso to queue up at the end of the pit lane, switch off the engine, and then, yeah, everyone's just waiting at the end of the pit lane to try and get the most optimal conditions. I suspect what they're expecting is that there will be rain forecast in the next 5 to 10 minutes, and that's why they want to go out as soon as possible to have the best track conditions. But yeah, I'm going to have a quick sip of water and we'll get underway for qualifying very, very shortly, folks. We've got 3,000 people tuned into live stream. If you are enjoying, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well. Hopefully we can hit 84,000 today. We are, how many subscribers away is that? 351? Oh no, 651, sorry. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to do so. I'll be back in just a second. All right, 80% chance of rain. So yeah, there is rain forecast for the next upcoming hour, but we don't know exactly when that rain is when that rain is going to arrive, which part of the circuit it will arrive. So yeah, Let's wait and see. They're coming over the radio to Bottas and Zhou saying to switch off your engines to keep the temperatures in check. Just under 2 minutes is the message to Nico Hulkenberg. I'll turn off the timer so you guys can see all of the team radio messages. All right. Also, this is the other thing. The drivers are not going on their maximum engine modes. This is something we see very often in qualifying. The drivers actually in wet qualifying, sorry to specify, the drivers normally do 3 sort of hot laps and then do 1 cool down lap to recharge the battery before going out again, to do like 3 quick laps. The intermediate tires do not degrade as much as well, so it's not too much of a concern that you're doing laps on 3-lap old tires. It's not too big of an issue. And yeah, DRS is disabled as expected. I'm going to load up the current timings. There we go. We've got the current timings for qualifying. And let me get rid of the timer on the right hand side of the screen. Very nice. Right, fire up the car. That's what they're saying over the radio, and we should be ready to go then. All right, we've got the first driver out in the pit lane is Oscar Piastri. Then we've got the 2 Hasses, then Lando Norris, then the 2 Saubers, and then a couple more drivers behind them as well. But everyone is getting out, getting ready to go ASAP. Okie dokes, let's wait and see what will happen. We've had George Russell here in wet conditions do fantastically in 2021. We of course have Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, who are fantastic wet drivers. Lando Norris is doing great as well in the past couple of weeks, and let's wait and see. But Norris, first of the drivers out onto the circuit. There we go, everyone making their way out very, very shortly. Everyone's going to be very careful to spread themselves out. Okay, we're going to have rain is arriving in 8 minutes time, folks. 8 minutes time. That's what's the message from the McLaren pit crew. Rain will be arriving in 8 minutes. And that message is probably a bit delayed. So actually it's not delayed. It said 8 minutes into the session. So when the timer hits 10 minutes, that's when we should start to see some rain falling. But as of now, the drivers, their main concern will be driving specifically on the racing line, cleaning up as much water off the racing line as possible, and then making sure that they can find their braking points. They know where the approximate braking points is, where there's a significant lack of grip, exactly like at turn number 7, at turn number 8, on those downhill sections when the track is curved away from you, it's cambered away from you. Something very, very critical for the drivers to pay attention to. But yeah, not long now till we have our first couple of quali laps coming through. We have Verstappen coming out of the pit lane as well. The Ferraris making their way out. The McLarens up at the front. But here we go, folks. Let me know what your predictions are. Who do you think is going to have a crash? Who do you think is going to get eliminated out of Q1? And who is getting pole position? Yeah, here we go then. Who are you betting to qualify better, Lando, Max, or Lewis? I'm gonna go with Max. I think Max is gonna go full beast mode today. That's what my predictions is, because he knows that the Red Bull is not all that quick, and he's already got a 10-place grid penalty. He knows whatever he does today is going to play out and have a massive impact on tomorrow's result. So yeah, I think Max Verstappen is going to be going for pole, and I think he's going to be pushing that Red Bull all the way to the limit and potentially even a little bit beyond. But here we go. Norris, the first driver to come across the line and start a flying lap. This lap is not going to be quick by any sort of imagination. He, in fact, goes wide into La Source. All of the drivers, in fact, taking a wide line on purpose. It seems like the wider line is, in fact, the more optimal line compared to the inside line, because this is one other thing to consider. In Friday, we had a lot of drive running from Formula 1, Formula 2, and Formula 3. So there's loads of rubber deposits on the racing line of corners. And the rubber consists of some oils that are in the rubber that help to hold the rubber together and essentially make it quick and sticky. The problem with the rubber that is deposited into the ground, though, is that once you mix the rubber with the track and some water from the rain, that oil plus the oil plus water mix is very, very slippery. So we see a lot of the drivers taking very strange lines, which seem strange, quote unquote, but in fact they are the quicker lines because there is no sort of oil slick. It's not, totally oil slick, but it's a sort of effective oil slick. Ooh, Lando Norris gets a massive snap of overstay going through poo on there, but he manages to save it, and he's done turn right to go left moment there and save the car as he goes through through the middle sector. He's no longer got the quickest first sector. That was taken by Oscar Piastri, which is now taken by Fernando Alonso. Come on, Fernando Alonso. Let's see you get through into Q3 and potentially even the top 5. Fernando Alonso, you can't outcount this man now. He is 42 and he is still driving like there is no tomorrow, and he's so quick in these wet conditions. Hamilton comes over the radio saying there's no grip. Pretty typical of Hamilton, and Hamilton, it is raining, by the way, so I would expect no grip, but here comes Lando Norris coming through this bus stop chicane now. There is a whole lot of spray. You can barely even see the cars as they come across the line. It is a 1:58.8 from Lando Norris. That is the benchmark for now, and now we'll have the remaining drivers coming through as well. The Haas cars have been hit with a bit of traffic. Leclerc and Sainz getting in the way of the Haas cars, but Kevin Magnussen across the line, a 1:59.8. And he goes 0.2 slower in the final sector. And then Hulkenberg goes quicker than Norris, and that's purely just down to the fact that the circuit is getting quicker and quicker. Oscar Piastri comes across the line, a 1:57.4. Verstappen 0.4 up in the first sector. Wow, very, very nice there from Max Verstappen. Let's wait and see what he can do on his full lap. But we've got Fernando Alonso coming across the line very, very soon. Bottas goes across into 4th position, and here comes Fernando Alonso up into 2nd place, and he goes 0.8 behind Oscar Piastri. Piastri set a very good lap, even though track conditions were getting better and better. Piastri had a very good lap there and hooked everything together very, very well. We saw Gasly go purple in the middle sector in free practice 3. He's done it again now. Let's wait and see what his lap time is going to be, but we've got Albon starting a lap, and so is Sargent. In fact, coming across the line here, 9th position for Sargent, and Albon's just finished a lap. Apologies for that mistake. Albon up into 5th place. Gasly comes across the line, 2nd place for him. Nicely done. Perez now has the fastest middle sector. That's quickly taken away by Max Verstappen, who goes 0.7 of a second quicker than Sergio Perez. And now we go Ocon into 4th place. Both Alpines doing brilliantly. Alpine have brought 3 big upgrades this weekend, and they were right at the back of the pack at the start of the season, but here they are doing very, very well this weekend. Perez up across the line into 2nd place. We've got Ricciardo coming across the line, 5th place for him, and here comes Max Verstappen. What can he do? He is a 2.5 up on Oscar Piastri. Simply sensational. And wow, what a lap there from Max Verstappen. Let's wait and see what the rest of the drivers can do. Leclerc comes across the line, 3rd place for him. He's a 2.5 down, 2 and 7/10 down on Max Verstappen. Carlos Sainz across the line, 2.5 seconds down on Max Verstappen. Wow, what a lap. Max Verstappen's reign dominance coming right through here. He was the only driver that was really pushing in practice. So, you would expect him to have all of the knowledge, have all of the know-how on where to drive, how to drive quickly around the circuit in wet conditions, and it's really helping him, isn't it? Hamilton comes across the line, a 2.5 down on Max Verstappen once again, and then George Russell 2 seconds down on Max Verstappen. So, yeah, a very, very good lap there from Verstappen. Piastri did his 2nd lap, by the way. Piastri did another lap, and he improved, but still 1 full second behind Max Verstappen. So Max Verstappen really setting the benchmark up here, and currently if we look at the bottom 5, we have got Guan Yu Zhou. Oh, sorry, that's Sargent just put himself up. We've got Hulkenberg, Norris, Zhou, Stroll, and Bottas. Norris down there at the bottom of the timings. He had to abort a lap after making a mistake, so that's why he is right back at the bottom. Ocon goes up into 4th place. The rain is already starting to fall, folks. The rain is already starting to fall. So track conditions may be getting slightly worse, but I don't think it's particularly strong rain, or strong or heavy rain. So the drivers should be fine for the next couple of minutes at least. Yeah, 10 minutes remain, though, of this qualifying session. Lando Norris is on a flying lap. Let's wait and see what he can do. Gasly goes up into second place there. He set that lap about 30 seconds ago, but he goes quicker than Piastri, and the Alpines are looking fantastic. Now, I do have to put this question into the air. Have Alpine gone for a more rain-oriented setup, or gone for a slightly more a setup that is a bit more higher on the downforce, so the drivers are quick in wet conditions, but they could be worse in dry conditions? So that'll be something to watch out for tomorrow. Alpine are doing fantastic, but if that setup is only good for wet conditions, then they might fall back through the pack very, very quickly in tomorrow's race. We've got Hamilton up into 4th place. Russell comes across the line into 5th position. Norris, he set a lap. He puts himself up into 6th as well. Yeah, nice job there from Lando Norris. And Ferrari seemed to be slower than the Alpines. Valtteri Bottas sets a brilliant lap there. And Oscar Piastri, he's done a slow lap. Now he's starting his fast lap. And now we've got a couple more drivers making their way through the bus stop chicane. We may have a couple of drivers even entering the pits to do a bit of refueling before they go out for the second time in this qualifying session. Yep, Alonso into the pits and a couple more drivers making their way in. Leclerc has a purple mini sector there, and he could be on his way to have a very quick middle sector. Let's keep an eye on Charles Leclerc. But Perez coming through the middle sector now. What is his middle sector time? It is purple, in fact. Perez doing a great job through the middle sector. Oscar Piastri purple through the first sector. Is Nightbot a little bit too strict? In fact, you know what I'll do? I'll just turn off Nightbot for now. And then yeah. All right, Nightbot is turned off, folks. So you guys can... carry on chatting as normal, and hopefully it won't ban you for too long. Oh wow, we've got 7,000 people tuned into the live stream, folks. If you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. It really does help out the lap. It helps out the channel, and hopefully we can get to 700 likes. We're getting pretty close, and hopefully 84,000 subscribers as well. But yeah, Sergio Perez, great lap from him. He goes up into 2nd position. Daniel Ricciardo going up in 2nd place. That experience coming right through. Piastri now purple through the first sector. Now he's purple through the 2nd sector. All right, he's only got the final sector left. He's got to go flat through Blanchimont, which seems to be very, very easy for most of these drivers. 300 kilometers an hour they go through Blanchimont, but it's just a little flick to the left, very much like 130R. And he's got a bit of traffic ahead of him in terms of Carlos Sainz and Nico Hülkenberg, but they get out of the way nicely, and he's just got the bus stop chicane to tend with now. He comes through the bus stop chicane, and Oscar Piastri across the line. First position it is. He goes half a second ahead of Max Verstappen. Verstappen now on a slow lap. Let's wait and see what he can do, but it's P1 for Oscar Piastri. Very, very nice. Okay. Charles Leclerc up in 3rd place as well. So Carlos Sainz has got to put a good lap in now. He's got a bit of pressure under him because he is now down in 13th place. So is Fernando Alonso. He's in 15th, getting risk of getting eliminated. We've got Stroll as well. He's on an out lap. Stroll, Sargent, Albon, Magnussen and Alonso, they're all on out laps. So I'll have the final couple of runs of Q1 coming through shortly. And yeah, I'm going to have a quick sip of water, but we have got a very, very exciting qualifying session today, folks. Look at that, the top 5, 4 different teams, and we've got Daniel Ricciardo up there. Yeah. Simply lovely, and we've got a lot more of this to come to, folks, and we'll probably should have that a very exciting quali session as well. Oh wow, we've gone up to 1,000 likes. That is yeah, the like counter in fact paused itself. I don't know why it paused itself. But yeah, it was stuck at 644 for ages, and then the likes just went up to 700, which is brilliant. Right, 1,500 it is. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Yeah, I'm really need to have this water, otherwise my throat will start to hurt. But yeah, the rain is falling, folks. So the track conditions are getting slightly worse, but that's being totally offset by the fact there are 20 Formula 1 cars, hoovering up all of the water and spraying it all to the side. So track conditions technically are getting worse, but the drivers are offsetting that by the fact that they're just driving around. Verstappen, purple through the first sector, purple through the second sector. He's got a bit of traffic to contend with. They seem to get out of the way nicely, though, as he heads towards the final bits of the lap. And he comes across the line. Where can Max Verstappen go? He's half a second down on Piastri. He's now half a second up on Piastri, and he gains 1 full second there on that previous lap. Very nicely done, and he should come into the pits shortly. We've got Hamilton as well. He comes across the line. 3rd place for him. Great lap by Lewis Hamilton as well. And Piastri looks like he's the better driver better of the 2 McLaren drivers in these wet conditions. You would have expected Lando Norris, growing up in Britain, having all of the rain to practice in, being a bit better. But here comes Oscar Piastri, the boy from Melbourne, where it is always sunshine and rainbows. Well, it's not always sunshine and rainbows, but yeah, Piastri is doing a brilliant job nonetheless. Ocon is having a couple of purple mini sectors here, and he could be on for a great lap. The Alpines are looking so good this weekend. It's a bit of a surprise, really. I know they brought upgrades, but they are doing exceptionally well, even though they started the season out right at the back of the grid. Nobody has crashed as of yet as well. We've had 15 minutes of qualifying. Nobody has crashed. I don't want to do a commentator's curse and we suddenly just get a yellow flag, but Ocon goes across the line. 5th place for him. The Alpines are looking great. Fernando Alonso as well, up into 6th position after his most recent lap. Yeah. Right, here we go then. Alex Albon across the line. He does not improve, goes up into 8th position. And we've got Lando Norris currently in 17th place. He's now coming across the line. Where can he go? 5th place it is for Lando Norris. And now we've got Logan Sargent, who's currently in 20th position. His teammate is up in 9th. Where can Logan Sargent go? He's coming across the line very, very shortly. And it is only 16th position for Logan Sargent. Very, very unfortunate there. Okay, also, folks, I hope you aren't getting any adverts. I'm doing my best to prevent YouTube from giving you adverts. It really does, yeah. Hopefully you guys aren't getting any, because I would hate watching a live stream and then getting adverts in your face. So yeah. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to my Patreon subscribers, Patreon members, sort of. Stefan and AJ, very much is appreciated. And yeah, these guys are helping me out and get a bunch of behind the scenes stuff, a couple of exclusive chats as well. So if you guys are interested, then there is a link in the description. But no ads so far. That is fantastic. George Russell again. Let's wait and see what is George Russell doing. Down in 17th position. He's on a flying lap now. Purple first mini sector, and he goes purple in the 3rd mini sector as well. Let's wait and see what he can do as he goes through Eau Rouge and Radion. Lewis Hamilton, is he on a flying lap? No, he is not. George Russell probably isn't getting a tow from Verstappen all the way out there. That's not too much to be a concern of. Yeah. All right. Very, very exciting quali session so far, folks. And if you are enjoying, be sure to hit the like button as well. Right. Let's wait and see. Oh, thank you for the donation, substantially Zhou Supremacy. Well, where is Guan Yu Zhou? He is currently in 19th position. He is behind his teammate by about half a second. He's got a bit of improving to do before there is some supremacy, but let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. He has been doing quite well, and the Saubers, in fact, have a lot of upgrades this weekend, but I think they might have opted for a bit more of a race-oriented setup rather than a wet-oriented setup. George Russell, he goes green in the first sector, a couple of purple mini sectors in the middle sector. Oscar Piastri, again, he goes purple in the first sector. It looks like he's trying to chase down Max Verstappen. Let's see what he can do. Verstappen, he is on a slow lap. He's going to do putting a hot lap in the next 30 seconds or so. There is a massive traffic jam at the bus stop chicane, so we'll see if that gets cleared out by the time everyone sets their laps. There's 20 seconds left to go. yeah, we'll see if everyone can make it in time. But currently the elimination zone stands Logan Sargent, George Russell, Valtteri Bottas, Guan Yu Zhou and Nico Hülkenberg. We've got George Russell coming across the line very, very shortly. Across the line up into third place. Great lap by George Russell. And he's done this previously. 2021, he stuck a Williams into second place. And now we are going to see what Oscar Piastri can do. He comes across the line. First place for Piastri, a 10th quicker than Max Verstappen. Very, very nicely done from Oscar Piastri. I think Verstappen has messed up the timing just a little bit here, and he may have a bit of traffic ahead of him when he's setting his hot lap, so that's not going to be ideal. Ocon goes purple in the first sector. Gasly goes purple in the middle sector. The Alpines are absolutely on fire today. Their upgrade package is working so well, and let's wait and see what they can do. Gasly comes across the line now. He's in 5th position. This is the team that was the slowest of the entire grid at the start of the season. We have now reached the halfway point. We've got the summer break next week, and Gasly across the line for 2nd place. Let's see what Ocon can do. He's in 8th place. He comes across the line now. He goes from 8th up into 6th. Alpine have had an enormous recovery. McLaren up there at the top. Lando Norris in 8th position. Currently in the elimination zone, we have Kevin Magnussen, Yuki Tsunoda, Logan Sargent, Valtteri Bottas and Guan Yu Zhou. Alonso improves. He's up into 7th. Bottas goes up into 8th. Great lap by Valtteri Bottas. We've got Lance Stroll currently in 14th, potentially at risk of being eliminated, pushes himself up into 11th place. Now we've got K-Mag currently in 17th position, goes up into 14th. Carlos Sainz is at risk of getting eliminated. Perez goes up into 4th place. Good lap from him. Albon up into 11th. Ricciardo goes across the line up into 8th. And with Carlos Sainz is in 17th. He's got to put this lap together now. Here he goes across the line, and Carlos Sainz up into 5th place. Very, very nicely done. We've got a couple more drivers coming through, but they've had their laps ruined by traffic at the end of the bus stop chicane. So Nico Hülkenberg, Kevin Magnussen, Yuki Tsunoda, Logan Sargent and Guan Yu Zhou are the drivers that are eliminated out of this qualifying session. Very, very unfortunate for the Haas team. They've been on a very good upward trajectory so far this season, but it seems to have come all crashing down, and they've swapped places with Alpine. Alpine have done so well. I don't know where this pace has come from. And somehow Alpina, Gasly's up in 2nd place. This is simply brilliant. Tsunoda, unfortunately, getting knocked out in 18th position, which is a very big surprise. I would have expected Tsunoda to make it through. Maybe not Lance Stroll after his crash in FP3. But Stroll scrapes through by 0.3 of a second, and Tsunoda has to settle. I mean, Tsunoda already has a grid penalty. I think that's the reason why he wasn't pushing. There's no point potentially crashing the car if you're going to start at the back of the grid anyway. So no sort of worries there for Yuki Tsunoda. I suspect that's what the team told him, just go out, do your qualifying laps. If you're going to start in last position, you might as well not push too hard and don't risk crashing the car. All right. Perez over the radio saying, I was compromised. My tyre wasn't ready. So Red Bull messing up the warm-up procedure. There was a very big traffic jam at the bus stop chicane. Verstappen and Hamilton got their laps ruined at the start because they... right at the end of qualifying, because there wasn't enough time left to go. There was 20 seconds and around about 5 cars or so, 5-6 cars at the end of the bus stop chicane. So there's no way everyone was going to get their way through done in time. And yeah, so the teams will probably learn from that, and considering there's going to be 5 less cars on the circuit next qualifying session, we should be fine. All right, so that has been Q1, a very, very exciting Q1 session. The drivers will still be going out on intermediate tyres. The rain was very, very heavy. It is still falling now. It's not particularly heavy as of this current moment. It's still fairly light and not too big of a concern. But yeah, that has been Q1, folks. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Very much is appreciated. And if you are enjoying the coverage, be sure to hit the like button. It really does help out the channel. And if you aren't subscribed, then yeah, be sure to do so. I'll be commentating the race tomorrow, and I'll also be commentating Zandvoort and future races and qualifying sessions as well. Okay. Yeah, right, I'm going to have a quick sip of water. Right, let me know what your predictions are. What do you think is going to happen in this second qualifying session? Who will be getting eliminated? Lewis Hamilton, currently in 13th position. That is a bit of a surprise, and the only reason that has happened is because there was a bit of a blunder at the end of Q1, Hamilton not getting out with enough time left on the clock. So I think that will be resolved very, very shortly, but not too much to read into there. And yeah, still going to be pretty tough for a lot of the other drivers now. There's so much more competition. The Alpines are quicker as well. The Astons are meant to be quick. Yeah, I suspect we're probably going to see Albon, Bottas, Ricciardo, Stroll, and Ocon get eliminated. I think Alonso will make it through. And so will Gasly, and then we'll have the top 4 fastest teams. I think Perez is also going to set a pretty quick lap this weekend. Yeah, let's wait and see. Also, I'd like to say the Constructors' Championship, there is 50 points between McLaren and Red Bull, so it is every single race now. It is key that McLaren has to outscore Red Bull. Oh my god, they're already queuing at the end of the pit lane, folks. They're already queuing. We've got Alex Albon, the first driver in the queue, and then we've got the Mercs at the back of the queue, and it looks like the Alpines are out as well. So, yeah, everyone coming out very, very early, looking to get the most, the best track conditions possible. Yeah. Right. Are they expecting more rain? I have not seen any sort of weather forecast. It's continuing to rain as of yeah, it's just been raining the same, really. It's not been getting more intense. It's not been getting less intense. It's just the same level of rain that has been falling. And I guess what they're just trying to do is get out as soon as possible and give the drivers more time to drive around and get a feel for the circuit, because the more the drivers are confident, the more they can push. Especially in these wet conditions, it's very rarely that you see the drivers go over the limit, unless they crash, of course. But the drivers are very often underdriving the car just for the risk of, if they do lose it, then there's a very big crash that could happen. So, yeah, the drivers don't have as much confidence, and hence I think the teams are just sending them out as soon as possible so they can gain some more time on the circuit and get a bit more confidence under their belts. We do have Max Verstappen with a 10-place grid penalty, folks. 10-place grid penalty. So even if he does qualify on pole position today, he will still be at the back of the pack. Not at the back of the pack, sorry. He'll be 10 places below wherever he qualifies. Because he is taking a new engine. Yuki Tsunoda, he's already eliminated from this weekend, but he has a 60-place grid penalty, and there we go, more drivers making their way out of the pit lane. Albon, the first driver, then the 2 Alpines. We've got George Russell, Fernando Alonso, and a lot of other drivers coming through as well. All right, is McLaren trying to win the Constructors? They're very competitive this season. I think McLaren really are. If Sergio Perez cannot deliver, and if McLaren just seem to be the quicker car, there is a good chance that they could outscore Red Bull in the remaining 11 races, and they could go on and potentially win the Constructors' Championship. It'll be tough, and they'll have to make basically no mistakes from now till the end of the season, but it is still on the cards. And, if Red Bull make a mistake, then McLaren have a bit of leeway that they can make a mistake, but it's going to be tough for them, and both drivers are going to have to be performing at the top of their game. Right, what else have we got going on this weekend? Well, this qualifying session, everyone making their way out onto the circuit, everyone on the intermediate tyres. The only driver out on a used set of intermediates, in fact, we've got a couple of drivers out on used sets. Piastri, Sainz, Leclerc and Russell, all ours, and Norris and Hamilton, they're all out on a used set of intermediate tyres. So I think what they're believing is the circuit will be getting better and better, and they might as well just go out on a used set for now and preserve an extra set for come Q3. And, makes sense, doesn't it? let's wait and see what they do. We've got Albon starting a lap, Ocon starting a lap. We'll have a couple more laps coming through very, very shortly. Why does Yuki have a penalty? Yuki has a penalty. He has replaced basically every single engine component there is. Control electronics, the battery, the MGUK, the internal combustion engine, the whole thing. And that's why he's got a 60-place grid penalty. So he didn't try very hard in qualifying, because he was going to start, even if he got pole position, he was still starting in 20th place. Okay, here we go then. They've come over the radio to Daniel Ricciardo. We have Drizzle in the pit lane, and they've come over to Ricciardo saying every lap counts. So yeah, every lap is very, very critical here. They don't know when the rain is going to get harder, and because of that, every single lap that they do is the most important lap of the qualifying session, and that's sort of the situation that the drivers are in right now. Okay. Well, let's see, what else can we do? No, George Russell going through Puon nearly flat on his quali lap. Very, very, a lot of commitment there from George Russell. We're seeing a bit of a racing line start to form. There's a bit of a dry line coming through, and George Russell doing a very good job there, staying within that dry line. But let's wait and see. Albon will be the first driver to come across the line with a flying lap. Gasly's purple in the middle sector goes quicker than Ocon, but of course we've got everyone else's lap times to come through as well. But here is Alex Albon, number one Williams driver, number one driver coming across the line, and here he comes. What can he do? It is first place for Alex Albon, of course, but it's a 1:54.7. That's the benchmark. Ocon now comes across the line, a 1:54.7. He does exactly that lap time as well. Not exactly the same, half a tenth slower than Albon, and Gasly comes across the line, and he goes slower by 0.3 of a second. Russell across the line through, he goes slower than both Ocon and Albon. A bit of a surprise there, but Russell is on older tyres, so that is probably the reason why. And now we'll have Alonso and Norris come through and do their laps as well. Let's wait and see what Alonso can do. He comes across the line, third place for him. Lando Norris across the line. It is first position for Lando Norris. Great job there. He goes ahead by 0.2 of a second compared to Alex Albon. But Alex Albon is hitting a very respectable lap time nonetheless, albeit Norris is on a set of used tyres, so fair enough. But a very good lap there from Alex Albon, and potentially he could bring that Williams through into Q3. We'll have to wait and see. Ricciardo up into 4th place after his lap, and now we've got Bottas into 11th, and let's see. We've got Verstappen and Perez coming through, both of the big hitters. Perez comes through now. He's currently in 14th up into 4th place, and now we've got Stroll, Piastri, and then Verstappen is the last of the runners. Okay, Piastri, he was competing with Max Verstappen for first position in Q1. Now he comes across the line. It is 3rd place for Oscar Piastri. He goes slower than his teammate by 0.3 of a second. Here comes Max Verstappen, purple in the middle sector. Across the line he goes, and it is first place by half a second compared to Lando Norris. Folks, I would like to point this out. Max Verstappen is on a fresh set of intermediate tyres. Lando Norris is on a used set of intermediate tyres, and track evolution is going absolutely crazy right now because there hasn't been very intense rain for a while. The track is getting drier and drier at an insane speed, and because of that, Verstappen, who was the last driver to set a lap out of everyone, Albon was the first. He's currently going into the pit lane right now. Verstappen, who was the last, he had the best possible race conditions. And if we look at the track conditions right now, the first sector and the third sector look to be pretty dry, but the middle sector is still quite wet, and it's a bit treacherous out there to go out on slicks. We'll wait and see what they do. We may have a couple of drivers putting on some slick tyres, but intermediates might also be the best choice for now. Maybe Q3 is the slick tyre option. We've got George Russell. He's come in for a pit stop. I think he had enough fuel in the car to go for a full quali session, but he's now come in for a fresh set of intermediate tyres. He comes out the pits with a fresh set. All right, Alex Albon, his car squirming around as he gets onto the power, as he goes through the middle sector. We'll wait and see what he can do, but his first sector wasn't all that great. I'm going to have a quick sip of water, folks. Look at that first sector from Esteban Ocon. Wow. I think he may have just orchestrated a bit of a tow here, folks. If you look at Esteban Ocon's purple mini sectors, they're all at the end of the first sector, and Pierre Gasly is right behind him. I think Alpine did organize a little bit of a tow, and that's why Esteban Ocon has got all of those purple mini sectors. So we'll keep an eye out if any other teams decide to do that, if they can just happen to link up the timings that way. Yeah, we'll wait and see. Okay, currently in the elimination zone, we have got George Russell, who is about to start a flying lap once he gets to the start-finish line. Pierre Gasly, Charles Leclerc, Valtteri Bottas, and Lance Stroll. Leclerc's coming out to do a flying lap as well. So we've got all the drivers now making their way out to do their flying laps. Very, very nice indeed. Okie dokes, folks, we've got 9,000 people watching, folks. If you are enjoying the coverage, be sure to hit the like button and also subscribe. If we could hit 84,000 subscribers today, that would be simply lovely. Yeah, the drivers, Fernando Alonso, he goes flat through Blanchimont, 308 kilometers an hour, goes into that braking zone at the bus stop chicane, hits those apexes perfectly, and gets onto the power so smoothly. Just getting onto the power, does a nice short shift, across the line he goes. Where does Alonso go up to? Does not improve. Fernando Alonso, track conditions, are they getting worse, or did Alonso just have a bad lap? It's a bit tough to tell. I think track conditions are still improving. Verstappen has improved on his first sector, so looks like Alonso's had a bit of a bad lap. Okay, the Bull drivers are reporting more rain. Yeah, we are probably going to have a bit more rain coming through. And yeah, a little bit more rain. And the track conditions have got a bit worse. It seemed to be the third sector was dry. Now the end of the third sector has gone towards intermediate conditions. George Russell, purple in the first sector, and he's done that without a tow as well. So great in the first sector. He gets a massive tank slapper as he goes down the hill towards Pouon. But he still holds his foot flat to the floor, and he's continuing on his lap. Let's wait and see what he can do coming through the middle sector. All right, who else have we got on a flying lap? We've got, of course, Max Verstappen as well. His middle sector did not improve that much. Circuit conditions may be getting slightly worse. Yeah. All right, then here comes Max Verstappen. George Russell improves in his middle sector, so George Russell still got lap time to gain, and to be fair, he is in 11th position, so I think that is fair enough. Verstappen comes across the line. Does he improve? Yes, he does. He improves by just a fraction of a second. I think he goes, 4 milliseconds quicker than his previous lap? Nothing major, really. Yeah, so Verstappen, not a lot of lap time left. I think the circuit is getting worse and worse, and that probably means the drivers, this is their final opportunity to set a lap. If you are in the elimination zone, you will probably stay in the elimination zone. Russell comes across the line, 4th place for him after setting a purple first sector. Hamilton, his car twitching about on the exit of Stavolo, but he gets a good exit nonetheless, and the Mercedes bouncing a lot less than it was in FP1, and the team seem to have figured out what issues there were with the new upgrade packages that they brought. But here comes Fernando Alonso. What is he going to do? It is 3 minutes and 40 seconds left of this quali session. Is he going to go for a flying lap? Is he going to box for some slicks? It's too early to say. But Hamilton, here he comes. Across the line he goes. What can Lewis Hamilton do? It is only a 5th position for Lewis Hamilton. Okay. That is the... And then Leclerc, great lap from Charles Leclerc, 3rd place for him, and Carlos Sainz currently in 12th position. What can he do? He comes across the line as well, and he puts himself up into 4th place. Great lap from both Ferrari drivers. They're up into 4th and 5th, 3rd and 4th place, and the Alpines are now nowhere to be seen. Don't know how everything is switching up so much, but I'm going to say the wet conditions just makes F1 so much more exciting, so much more unpredictable, and you've just got to love it, haven't you? Forza Ferrari indeed. Okay. 2 minutes and 40 seconds remain of this session. We have got Fernando Alonso going into the pits. He's come out as well. It looks like he's coming out on another set of intermediate tyres. Yes, he is. A fresh set of inters for Fernando Alonso. And everyone else is still driving around. Currently, we've got Piastri, who improves up into second place. Great job there, but he's still 3/10 shy of Max Verstappen's monstrous lap time there. 1:53.8 from Max Verstappen, a sensational lap, I've got to say. And let's wait and see what he can do. Okay. We've got 1 minute 50 seconds remaining of the session, so everyone's going to be doing their final sets of laps now. Sergio Perez currently in the elimination zone, so this is do or die territory now. He's got to set a quick lap here. Piastri gets a massive tank slapper. We've seen Piastri, we've seen Norris, we've seen Leclerc and Hamilton all get massive bits of oversteer as they go through Stavolo, but none of them losing too much time because they're able to carry the speed even though they're getting a bit of oversteer. So good job controlling that from Oscar Piastri, and he's still got more time to gain even though he is in second position. Okay, who is on a flying lap? Well, we've got Esteban Ocon on a flying lap. Purple in the first sector once again. It seems like he might have got a little toe of Ricciardo this time rather than his teammate, but we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what Esteban Ocon can do. And 59 seconds remain. Hamilton coming across the line to start a flying lap. Fernando Alonso will be doing the same as well. Alex Albon, who's currently in 7th position, is doing quite well actually in that Williams. Let's wait and see what he can do on his next flying lap. Perez is starting a flying lap. Both Ferraris as well. Oh no, sorry, Perez coming across the line. He goes up into 4th place. Good lap from Sergio Perez. Only 6/10 off his teammate and 11 milliseconds off Lando Norris. So that's exactly where Red Bull want him to be, just behind the McLarens, and he should be fine. He should be fine in that seat. Both Ferraris seem to be starting a flying lap. I don't know. Both Ferraris are starting a flying lap, sorry. 15 seconds remain. Oscar Piastri, what is he going to do? Is he going to start a second flying lap, or is he just going to come into the pits because he's going to make it through into Q3 regardless? Let's see, Piastri starts a flying lap with 3 seconds left on the clock. Esteban Ocon, the first driver, is now coming across the line. The time has gone to 0. Ocon's the first driver to take the checkered flag. 4th position for Esteban Ocon. Fantastic lap. Now we've got Pierre Gasly currently in 13th place. He puts himself up into 7th, still potentially at risk of getting knocked out. We've got Max Verstappen, who has not improved in the first sector, not improved in the second sector, and it looks like he probably isn't going to improve in the third sector. No, he does not, and he goes 7/10 of a second slower than his previous lap. Ricciardo boxes into the pits. He's currently in 9th, could get eliminated here. Russell up into 2nd. Great lap by George Russell, and he's done it once again, up into 2nd place. Last time he was in a Williams, this time he's in a Mercedes. George Russell, fantastic job. Norris improves, still not enough to get ahead of Oscar Piastri. So Piastri having the upper hand in this qualifying session, and Hamilton currently in 12th place. He's got to improve, otherwise he gets eliminated. Here he comes across the line. It comes because Lewis Hamilton, 2nd place for Lewis Hamilton. Great lap by him, matching George Russell. They're within 0.5 of each other. Fernando Alonso up into 5th place. Fantastic lap. Leclerc's purple through the middle sector. Albon improves into 9th place, and we've got the two Ferraris left now. Leclerc's on 10th. Carlos Sainz is in 12th. Both drivers have to improve if they both want to make it through. Leclerc does, he's up into 5th, and if Sainz improves now, Albon gets knocked out into the elimination zone. Sainz, great lap from him. 4th place to Carlos Sainz, and now we've got Sergio Perez, so close. He gets through into Q3 by 3 milliseconds, folks. 3 milliseconds is the gap between Sergio Perez and Alex Albon, so very tight there between those two drivers. But Max Verstappen still holding a commanding 2/10 advantage at the top of the pack. Everyone has been going up into 2nd place, 3rd place, 4th place, but no one has gone up into 1st. It is only Max Verstappen, and he has got that 2/10 pace advantage over everyone else that no one cannot find. Wow. What a qualifying session that has been. So many drivers just popping up into second and third place. Track conditions are rapidly getting better and better. It seems like the rain has stopped falling and we could see slicks by the end of Q3. Yeah, we'll keep an eye out on that. But folks, if you are enjoying the coverage, be sure to hit the like button. The drivers that are eliminated today are in the Q2 session. We have Alex Albon, Pierre Gasly, Daniel Ricciardo, Valtteri Bottas, and Lance Stroll. Very, very unfortunate there for those drivers getting eliminated. But the sensational laps from all of the Mercedes drivers, from both Mercedes drivers, both Ferrari drivers, the McLaren drivers putting in great laps as well. Everyone is putting in great laps now. It is just a question of who can nail the warm-up procedure on their tyres, who can get the best possible track conditions, who can potentially set up a little toe going down the Kemmel Straight, and who will get that final 2/10 advantage to Max Verstappen to get pole position. Ooh, very, very close indeed. Stroll didn't make it again. Yeah, a bit of a... Well, I don't know if it's a surprise or not. I don't think many people were expecting Stroll to make it through. But yeah, wow, folks, we've got 12,000 people watching. This is sensational. This is the highest I've ever had on a qualifying stream. So, yeah, we're breaking records here. Hopefully, tomorrow's stream can be another record-breaking stream. We're going to have Max Verstappen charging through the pack. Even if he gets pole position today, he's going to be starting in 11th position. And we could have, well, not we could, we will have a very, very exciting race on our hands. Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren all very close in terms of race pace. And even with a one-stop strategy tomorrow, we should have a exciting race on our hands. We're going to have Q3 beginning in 2 minutes times, 2 to 3 minutes times, folks. I'm going to have a quick sip of water, otherwise my throat will start to hurt. But we've hit 2,000 likes, which is sensational, and records are just being broken left, right, and centre. Wow. Okie dokie, so that has been Q2, folks. Q2 is over. We'll have our final top 10 shootout beginning very, very shortly. Track temperature is 21 degrees. The rain is still very much in the air. In fact, the rain has started to fall a little bit heavier. It looks like we will not have any sort of slick conditions in today's quali. It looks like the rain has got heavier and we're probably going to have intermediate running all the way till the end of the session. All right. Is the track drying? It was drying until the rain has just begun to fall as of now, and the fans have just got their ponchos out and got their umbrellas at the ready because, well, they don't want to get soaked by the downpour of water. All right. Very, very nice. Yeah, it started raining much harder again. Okie dokes. Let me know what your predictions are, folks. Who do you think is going to make it through into Q2, into pole position? Sorry, who is going to get pole? Is it going to be Max Verstappen? Can he hold out that 2/10 advantage at the start of Q1? That advantage was half a second. Now it's gone down to 2/10 of a second. Will anyone be able to get past Max Verstappen? Will he be able to hold that advantage that he has had for so long? The weather tomorrow is going to be sunshine. There is no chance of rain tomorrow. That's what the forecast says, so we'll wait and see. But it looks to be a dry race tomorrow. So yeah. Maybe we'll have Esteban Ocon on pole. Esteban Ocon, he'll have to get a toe down the Kemmel Straight if he is going to try and set a pole lap. But we'll wait and see. Maybe Alonso, if he can hook together a really good lap right at the end, potentially puts him up into third position. Who knows? Who knows what will happen? But Max, even if he does get pole position, I would like to point that out and just to remind you guys, a 10-place grid penalty coming his way for a new set of engine components. He's having a new internal combustion engine, and that is why he has got a grid penalty. Okay, we've already got drivers queuing up at the end of the pit lane. Charles Leclerc's out on his way to queue up at the end of the pit lane, and a nice big queue forming because the circuit, the rain has started to fall, and that means the most optimal conditions to set a lap is right at the start of the session, when there is the least amount of standing water. So the queue is already fairly long. We've already got a couple of drivers in. The Ferrari's right at the back of the queue. They may already have just been compromised before the session has even begun. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Yeah. 84k is doable indeed. We are, 185 subscribers away? 185 subscribers away. Yeah, folks, if you have not subscribed, I commentate all of the Formula 1 races, commentate all of the qualifying sessions, and all of the practice sessions. Well, not all. I do most of the practice sessions as well. Depends on my availability on Fridays. So yeah, it's been a long time since we've had car number 11 Red Bull in Q3. Indeed, it has. It's been a while. Sergio Perez has been eliminated in the previous 4 Q1 sessions. Hasn't made it through into Q3. But the green light is at the end of the pit lane now. Lewis Hamilton, the first driver out, and the track conditions are getting worse and worse as we speak. The rain has started to fall and the drivers have got to get a move on. This lap is do or die. The circuit is getting worse and worse. Yeah, let's wait and see. Normally, right at the end of the Q3 session is when we have all of the excitement and all the hype on who's going to get the pole lap, but it seems to be now is the moment in time where that is going to happen. Okay. Mika and I really like really nice and fair commentary, like your style, liked and subbed. Thank you very much, is appreciated, folks. And also, I would like to say thank you to all of the nice messages in the chat, but unfortunately I've also got to commentate at the same time. So yeah, everyone that has had a nice message, I normally do go back and read them. So yeah, thank you very, very much. Okay. F1 Gamer better than Alex Jackers? I don't know about Alex. Maybe better than Sky Sports, but Alex is a pretty good commentator. Right. 10 minutes and 47 seconds remain of this session. Lewis Hamilton is going to have the best track conditions, or maybe not. Maybe he will have he'll have less standing water compared to everyone else, or maybe he'll have a little bit more, because technically when Hamilton drives over the racing line and gets rid of the standing water, there'll be less standing water for the drivers behind him. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. But all the drivers currently on their outlaps. Max Verstappen right at the back of the queue, and Verstappen has done this again. He's gone out right at the end because he knows that potentially, well, I think the forecast is that it's not going to be that heavy rain. It's going to offset 10 Formula 1 cars cleaning up the racing line. So Hamilton is going right at the start, but Verstappen thinks it's the optimal choice to go right at the end. Here they go, though, nonetheless. Hamilton starts his flying lap. We'll have George Russell, Piastri, and Ocon, but I'll take you through Hamilton's lap. He goes through La Source, takes a wide line, misses the apex, but that is exactly what you're meant to do in wet conditions. Gets a good exit coming down towards Eau Rouge and Radion. Flicks the car left and then through the blind crest of Radion and comes through onto the Kemmel Straight. Speed trap speed of 307 kilometers an hour as he blasts down the Kemmel Straights, where there are loads of fans all there waiting on the side to see what he can do. Coming towards the Les Combes chicane now, braking at the 70-meter mark. Purple in the first sector, of course, but he is the first driver to set a first sector time. Then we have got Then he comes through towards turn number 7. Turn number 8, very, very tricky. Downhill braking off camber as well. There's a lot of understeer. Hamilton misses the apex, but that is, of course, the wet racing line. And then he now goes towards turn number 9 it is, and now towards Pouon. This corner, will he hold it flat? Will he have a little lift? It seems like he's going to have a little lift. Yeah, lifts the throttle a little bit as he goes into Pouon, but he gets a great turn in and now heading towards the middle sector. Let's wait and see what he can do. But Esteban Ocon once again purple in the middle sector. I don't know what the Alpines are doing. It seems like they have a little more top speed than the other drivers, and that's how they're managing to pull out a purple first sectors. But yeah, fantastic job there from Esteban Ocon. And Lewis Hamilton now makes his way out of Stavelot, gets a good exit, doesn't get too much oversteer like Oscar Piastri did and like Hamilton did on his previous lap. But now going towards Blanchimont, just a flick to the left at 300 kilometers an hour. And now the final 2 corners, the bus stop chicane, hits the brakes at the 100-meter mark. There's a lot of spray coming up at this part of the circuit. And now he makes his way left, right, and now towards the final start-finish straight he goes. foot flat to the floor and comes across the line, a 154.0. Fantastic job there from Lewis Hamilton. George Russell 2/10 behind him. Hamilton setting a great lap to start off this session, a good benchmark there. Let's wait and see what Oscar Piastri can do. He's up on Lewis Hamilton's time in the middle sector. He comes across the line, and in the final sector he's slower than Lewis Hamilton by 16 milliseconds. The gaps are so small. There are 7 kilometers of racing. So this circuit is 7 kilometers long. Every single part in the McLaren car and the Mercedes car is different, apart from the engine, of course, and yet there is only 16 milliseconds between Hamilton and Piastri. Norris comes across the line. He's only 2 milliseconds behind George Russell. Here comes Fernando Alonso. What can he do? It's 5th place for him. The Aston Martin not as quick. Let's see what Sainz and Leclerc can do. Verstappen purple in the middle sector. Ocon purple in the first sector. And Norris purple in the final sector. Sainz crosses the line up into 5th place for him. A bit behind the Mercedes and the McLarens. 2/10 behind to be exact. So Ferrari have still got a little bit more work to do, but now here comes Sergio Perez. Perez goes up into first. Here comes Sergio Perez, 2/10 ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Now here comes Max Verstappen. What can he do? He's purple in the middle sector. He's a 3-time world champion, and he goes across the line 6/10 ahead of his teammate. 9/10 ahead of the remaining competition. What a lap by Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez as well. Take a bow. There have been months and months of pressure and torment for him at the Red Bull team. So many rumours flying about of what's his future going to be, and he puts in a sensational lap like that ahead of the rest of the competition as well, and still and Verstappen is still 6/10 ahead of him. I don't know how Verstappen pulls out these wet qualifying laps, but it is simply sensational. I don't know where this pace comes from. They're all going to go back into the pits now. They're going to have a look at the data, see where Verstappen's going quicker, where is he braking later. But in fact, the teams don't even have the luxury to do that. Perez has done this on a used set of intermediate tyres, folks. Perez is on a used set of tyres, and he's only 6/10 behind Max Verstappen. Oh my God. Well, Sergio Perez has really sent his message out to the haters, and I was going to say it's check over, but it is not. It is totally check on, and Sergio Perez has got 5 minutes remaining of this qualifying session to potentially take a pole position away from Max Verstappen. And if Max Verstappen even stays on pole, Perez will be starting the race from the front, because he has got a 10-place grid penalty. Verstappen has got a 10-place grid penalty. Wow, what a quali session. I did not expect to see Sergio Perez up in second position whatsoever. Very, very surprising. Now we've got Hamilton. We've got loads of drivers. In fact, they're going on their second quali runs here. Hamilton, Piastri, Russell. Looks like they're going on their second runs. The rest of the drivers are making their way into the pits. I don't know which is the correct strategy, but there's not going to be that much time left for the Mercs and the McLarens to make their way back into the pits. So this will be their final runs. And everyone that's come into the pits now, they are going to come out on a fresh set of tyres, fuel the car up to the minimum fuel load required, and that is going to be the... and then we'll have the final runs and the top 10 shootout in Q3 today. Wow. Okay, I'm going to have a sip of water. What a qualifying session it has been. Yeah, Max has got a 10-place grid penalty. Sergio Perez technically doesn't get the pole position because he wasn't the quickest in quali, but he will start the race from first place. If Checo had new inters, who knows where he would be? Yeah, and also I'd like to point out the Ferraris were on used sets of some inters as well. 8 laps they had done on those intermediate tyres, and Alonso and Ocon, they had also done 7 laps and 3 laps respectively. So they've got fresh sets of intermediates to improve, but Hamilton, Piastri, Russell and Norris, they're all on flying laps now. Hamilton, Piastri and Russell, neither of them improve in the in the first sector. All of them improve in the middle sector, and here they come across the line. Lewis Hamilton for his final run of Q3. Where can he go up into? He's currently in third place. Across the line he goes, and he cannot get... he gets closer, but he cannot get any closer in terms of position. Here comes Oscar Piastri. What can he do? He does not improve. He goes slower than his personal best. George Russell improves, but still doesn't gain a position on Piastri, and now Lando Norris Norris is remaining, but it looks like he's made a mistake. Oh no, has he made a mistake? No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. He's up into 4th place. Great lap by Lando Norris. Gets ahead of his teammate, all importantly as well. There's been a bit of I don't know what the correct word would be between the two McLaren teammates, but a bit of hostility, shall we say, from the last weekend. And Lando Norris showing that he's a bit quicker than Piastri with 2 minutes and 47 seconds remaining on the clock. Maybe they can go around and do another slow lap. I'm not sure, but they're going to be on used tyres, and I don't know how well that is going to work. Right, the Ferraris are out, the Red Bulls are out, we've got Ocon out as well. Alonso is also out. Everyone who is going to set a quali lap is currently out onto the circuit. Checo on pole, potentially. Checo, first win of the season, maybe. Who knows what will happen. Maybe they'll force him to swap positions with Max Verstappen, with the Drivers' Championship getting closer and closer. I don't know what's going to happen there. If Perez had to give the position up to Verstappen, would he do it? Not so sure. But we've got 2 minutes left of this quali session, folks. We are, 68 subscribers away from 84,000. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to do so, folks. Really does help out the channel, and we're getting pretty close to our like target as well. We've got 12,000 people watching. I hope you are enjoying the coverage. We've got the final bits of Q3. 1 minute and 45 seconds remain. The Ferrari's going to start their flying laps. Then we'll have Max Verstappen. Then we'll have Alonso, then Verstappen, and then the drivers in the queue behind them, as you can see on the screen. I'm going to have a sip of water before I commentate this final bit. But a simply sensational bit of qualifying so far, and I cannot wait to find out who gets onto pole. All right, here we go then. I mean, Sergio Perez may have just kept his seat alive at Red Bull. The time when he needed it the most, he's come out and delivered a sensational performance, and he may just be able to hang on to that Red Bull seat towards the end of the season, maybe even a bit longer if he can keep up this kind of performances. Sainz goes slower in his first sector, does not improve. Charles Leclerc does improve by he's only half a tenth down on Verstappen in the first sector. Leclerc has done a great first sector so far. Let's wait and see what he can do in the remaining bits. They've come over to the radio to Lando Norris saying the rain will be increasing at the remaining parts of the circuit. There are 30 seconds remaining. There are 3 drivers left to go, I think. 3 drivers left to go, maybe Esteban Ocon as well, but they should have enough time to make their way around cleanly. Okay. All right, then here comes Max Verstappen. What can he do in the first sector? Verstappen also improves in the first sector. He goes half a tenth quicker than Leclerc. Okay, here we go then. Sainz gets a bit of oversteer coming through the final, coming through turn number 14, the final corner of the second sector. And Charles Leclerc, what can he do? He improves in the middle sector. He's 4 tenths quicker than Sainz in the middle sector. A great lap here from Leclerc so far. He's just got to put it together. He's not going to make a mistake going through into the bus stop chicane. Carlos Sainz currently in 7th position. He's had a pretty good lap so far. Nothing spectacular. Here he comes across the line. Where will he go put himself up into? He is 3 tenths behind Leclerc. Sainz improves, but not enough to get ahead of George Russell. All right, Leclerc across the line, 2nd place. What a lap by Charles Leclerc. The Ferrari was absolutely nowhere. We thought that this was a high-speed circuit. The Ferrari's not going to be quick here, but here comes Charles Leclerc. 2nd place from him. We've got the remaining laps left from all of the other drivers. Let's wait and see what happens. Verstappen, though, slower than his personal best in the middle sector. Here he comes towards the bus stop chicane. Let's wait and see what he can do. And here he comes. He's onto the power. Great exit. No DRS open as of now. He comes across the line. He does not improve on his previous lap time. He goes half a tenth slower, in fact. Now let's see what Fernando Alonso can do. Alonso across the line. He's in 9th place as of now, and he does not improve on his lap time. Hamilton comes into the pits. He knows that he's not going to improve. Neither does Oscar Piastri. It's only Sergio Perez remaining, and Perez goes slower in the first sector, slower in the second sector. What can George Russell do? He comes across the line. He's in 7th place. Oh no, Russell's into the pits as well. What is Sergio Perez going to do? Perez pulls into the pit lane. The only driver left on the circuit is Lando Norris, and he is slower than his personal best. And it looks like Leclerc is up into 2nd place. Leclerc will be starting this race in 1st place because Max Verstappen has got a 10-place grid penalty. What a turn of events. I did not think Leclerc would be up here. The McLarens and the Mercedes have looked so quick, but Leclerc hooked a magical lap together in these wet conditions. Simply sensational from Charles Leclerc. And Carlos Sainz, his teammate, is down in 8th place. He's going to be looking at the telemetry, looking at where all the time has gone. But that has been qualifying today, folks. It has been such an exciting session. And with Max Verstappen starting in 11th place tomorrow, we have Charles Leclerc leading the race, on pole position. And not pole position, sorry. He'll be leading the race from 1st place. Verstappen still has pole. It's going to be so exciting. We've hit 84,000 subscribers as well. And yeah, wow, what a quality session this has been. Folks, it has been a pleasure commentating to you. I hope you have had, I hope you've enjoyed the stream, and I hope you have a wonderful morning, day, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you are in the world. Yeah, the Red Bull team very happy over the radio. Not surprised really. But yeah, it's been a pleasure commentating to you, depending on where you are in the world. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, or night. I'll be commentating the race tomorrow. I'm going to end today's stream. It will take you over to tomorrow's stream. The biggest thing I can ask for you guys, if you could hit the like button on tomorrow's stream, if you haven't already, that would really help out the channel. It helps out the YouTube algorithm so much if you hit the like button before the stream actually begins. So that's all I ask of you. But yeah, what a qualifying session it has been today. Once again, a shout out to my Patreon, Stefan and AJ. And that has been the end of today's live stream, folks. And I will see you tomorrow for the race. And what a spectacular race we will have on our hands as well. Thank you so much. And once again, if you could hit the like button on tomorrow's stream, that would mean the world to me. See you tomorrow, folks. Cheers, fellas.